with detailed carvings. Dating to 825 BC, the black limestone obelisk commemorates the deeds of King Shalmaneser III. Curiously, depicted alongside his military conquests and various offerings made to him are strange hybrid creatures.
The black obelisk of Shalmaneser III is incredibly fascinating because as far as hybrid beings are concerned, what we have here are creatures half animal, half human. Some with a human head with then an animal body. And what's so interesting is the fact that the artist was very clear in depicting something, and that is that some of these creatures are held with a rope and one even with a chain. Now, did these creatures actually walk around here on Earth? And frankly, I would not be surprised if that's what happened, because the basic tenet of the ancient astronaut theory is manipulation artificially of genetic material.
Hybrid creatures abound in mythological traditions all over the world, and in many cases, they are part human. The ancient Greeks wrote about the centaur, half human, half horse. In Hindu mythology, the Naga are often depicted as serpentine creatures with human heads, while the Egyptian god Horus has a falcon head and a human body. Even in the Quran, the flying horse that was said to have flown Muhammad from Mecca to Jerusalem had a human face.
By natural evolution, hybrids can never have existed. If hybrids existed, then there must be genetical design behind it. Our ancestors, the Egypt or elsewhere, had no genetical design, but we had the hybrids. You can prove it in the literature, you can prove it in the sculptures, which still exist worldwide, especially in Egypt. The question which remains is, if extraterrestrials have made hybrids, why? What for?
With the black obelisk of Shalmaneser III and countless other depictions around the world, be a physical record that hybrids have existed throughout history. And if so, is there an alien hybridization project that continues to be carried out, even today? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining the bizarre and gruesome phenomenon of animal mutilation. Moscow, the Soviet Union, February 1954. At the Institute of Experimental Clinical Surgery, organ transplantation pioneer Vladimir Demikov conducts a potentially groundbreaking and highly controversial experiment. He transplants a dog's head onto the torso of another dog using vascular connections to the host dog's heart. The procedure is a success, and over the next 5 years, Demikov performs several more head transplants.
As far as these experiments are concerned, what they demonstrated was that scientists now had the potential to quite literally play God by mixing human DNA with animal DNA, creating, if you like, sort of chimeras.
Looking back on Demikov's efforts more than 50 years later, they may seem like the work of a mad scientist. But surgeons today have gone even further, actually merging animals with humans. In 2003, Chinese scientist Wei Zhenshen fused human cells agenda for humanity. Scientists have recently discovered that humans are remarkably similar to many other animals in terms of genetic makeup. Human beings share roughly 80% of their genes with cows, 85% with mice, 90% with cats, and 96% with chimpanzees. Considering the commonalities in DNA, is it possible that if there really is an alien hybridization project underway, its goal is not to direct human evolution? Could it be that we are just one of many species from which they are extracting genetic material to create an entirely new life form?
If you can genetically extract from any life form and take those genes and hybridize again, we are the product of the manipulation of DNA in already evolving primates by other intelligences that can mix and match any gene they want for any purpose.
One of their motivations. Now, so far at least, they haven't destroyed us. But in saying that, I haven't really seen much in the way of positive activity on their part to help us as a species. I think they're probably self-serving, and that self-serving situation may well involve the creation of an extremely complex experiment, and that experiment happens to be us.
Are extraterrestrials extracting DNA from all manner of earthly species in an effort to create so-called alien human hybrids? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and suggest further evidence can be found by closely examining some of the stories told concerning alien abductions. Boston, Massachusetts, October 25th, 1965. A local newspaper known as the Boston Traveler runs a front-page story about the alleged alien abduction of New Hampshire residents Betty and Barney Hill. In the more than 5 decades since this now famous incident, thousands of others have come forward with similar reports of being abducted by extraterrestrials.
What's particularly notable is the fact that during alien abductions, people talk about DNA taken from their bodies and essentially experimented on by these strange, short, black-eyed entities that become known as plastic rays.
As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, an equally chilling aspect of these reported alien abductions is the role that human blood and blood type seems to play in determining which human subjects become the targets of experimentation. New York, New York, 1940. At the Rockefeller Institute, Nobel Prize-winning scientist Harlan Landsteiner makes yet another groundbreaking finding in his work surrounding human blood types. Landsteiner discovers the Rh factor, a type of protein or antigen on the surface of red blood cells, setting the scientific world afire.
One of the things about human blood types is we have an Rh, either positive or negative blood type. And it simply has to do with your antibody and the you have if you're positive, and if you don't, you're negative.
Einstein was the first person to identify the original A, B, and O blood groups. But his latest discovery ignites a much more fascinating mystery underlying the nature of human blood.
One of the interesting aspects of the Rh negative versus Rh positive is that science really does not have a specific answer as to why some people should be negative immune system quite literally views the growing fetus as something alien, no pun intended. In that situation, medicine is provided to ensure that the fetus grows healthy.
How and why the Rh-negative blood type developed remains a mystery to scientists. And although the blood type is rare, there appears to be a disproportionately high occurrence of Rh-negative individuals among one particular group of people. Those who claim to have been abducted by aliens.
I don't think anybody would be able to stand behind a number and firmly know. But maybe 3, maybe even some 4 out of 10 maybe interviewed in the abduction syndrome would say I'm Rh negative.
Could determining the origin of Rh-negative humans be the key to uncovering the mystery behind potential human
to me on a regular basis. Apparently he realized I was infertile and backed away.
As I began to do more and more deep research, eventually you come out at another layer. What are we? What are Homo sapiens sapien really? And then you get to my perspective today. The harvest of genetic material from this planet. And so one of our greatest questions is who walks around on our planet, looks human, but is not.
Could human abductions be part of a greater effort by extraterrestrials to hybridize the human species with alien DNA? Many ancient astronaut theorists insist that such an audacious notion is not only likely, but that evidence of it can be documented by means of regression therapy. Barbara Lamb has conducted nearly 2,000 regressions on people who believe they have been abducted by extraterrestrial beings. Most recently, she has been studying the case of California native Robert Fullington, who has, under hypnosis, revealed details of his numerous encounters with extraterrestrials over the course of the past 10 years.
I came to know hybrids 7 years ago, and since then I've been conducting long interviews and have been doing regressions with them. And out of all that material, I have become convinced that they are indeed human hybrids living here on Earth.
I was 215 pounds, and I went down to 115 pounds. And the doctors had no idea what was going on with me. I was starting to have experience with ETs. It's things like going to sleep and then becoming aware that something's happening. It's these little tiny blips of real clear ET interactions, and I have no idea what's going on.
A wonderful thing is that our subconscious part of our minds records everything that happens to us, even those things that we have not been consciously aware of.
On June 6, 2019, Barbara conducted another regression session with Robert
Okay, nice and comfortable now.
in an effort to find out not only why he had been abducted, but also the specific way in which he might have been genetically altered.
So now we're going to go into a nice state of deep relaxation. More and more deep. More and more relaxed.
People are laying in lines and they're working on people. Like, I'm the last in line to work on.
Now, are these people in line, are they lying down?
Yeah, it's like a bunch of tables in a row. I feel like there's something inserting into my stomach. They're extracting something. It's like they're calling it DNA.
In the regression, it turned out that one extraterrestrial actually made an incision and took out DNA. Now that is something that has come across through my work. Some of them seem to be very scientific, and they want to understand how human bodies work and what our physiology is like. In many of the regressions I have done, it turns out that the ETs are creating hybrids for their own purposes.
If extraterrestrials are extracting genetic material from humans and experimenting with alien human hybrids, what might their purpose be? Is it to benefit the aliens, humanity, or could it be both? Berkeley, California, 2013. An international team of anthropologists and geneticists at UC Berkeley discovered that between 1.5 and 2.1% of the genomes of modern non-Africans can be traced to a hominid that lived alongside humans, Neanderthals. The finding provides proof that early humans came into contact with Neanderthals and even interbred with them. But one thing scientists are still unable to explain is why humans survived and Neanderthals, who were in many ways a superior species, did not.
One of the biggest mysteries about Neanderthal man is how and why they became extinct. They were very strong, robust, intelligent people, not the sort of cartoon image of so-called cavemen.
The space for their brain and their head is bigger than ours. And they know from pollen that they put flowers on their graves. That meant they had compassion.
The Neanderthals not only had much, much larger brains, but also their eyes. I mean, they would walk in the refrigerators. They were as strong as you can imagine. So what made the difference here? Extraterrestrials.
If, as many alleged alien abductees have testified, extraterrestrials are performing genetic experiments on humans for their own benefit, could they have favored Homo sapiens over Homo neanderthalensis because it was a species more compatible with their own? Or did they create numerous hominids, and humans represent the most favorable parts of each of them? In either case, two important questions remain. Is this process still underway? And if so, what is the ultimate objective?
One theory is that they are a dying race, and that by harvesting genetic material from humans, they are injecting into their own genome some new genetic material which will help save them. Another related theory is, let's take human DNA, let's take alien DNA, and let's create something even better. When we hybridize, we do so to gain a benefit. We take a particular line and we breed, and we gradually get a stronger bond. Extraterrestrials are effectively doing the same thing to us as a species.
Theories abound as to the purpose behind a possible alien hybridization project. But is it all mere speculation? Some ancient astronaut theorists believe the ultimate evidence that an alien hybridization project is, in fact, underway, and clues as to the true motives behind it, can be found by examining an incredible UFO encounter reported by members of the U.S. Air Force. Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk County, England. December 26, 1980. A glowing craft is reported near an airbase leased to the United States Air Force by the RAF. 2 U.S. servicemen are dispatched to the site to investigate what they believe could be a possible downed aircraft. When they arrive, the men observe a strange triangular craft on the ground, approximately 3 meters wide at its base. One of the men, U.S. Air Force Sergeant Jim Penniston, notices an